All right, peace. It's Bronzebird here with another video. Before I begin, like and subscribe. Thank you. So I came across this article the other day, and I find it a little bit amusing that when we have these conversations about the left, the Democrats, and about how their whole entire agenda is related to the LGBTQ and how important the LGBTQ is to the American fabric nowadays, more or less the LGBTQ mafia. I find it funny that Biden decided to go with this plan when it comes to the draft of the war, in which I think more than likely, as it seemed like a prophecy that will happen, that World War III will take place. But the funny thing is, why is it that he decided to go with the idea of going with one transgendered versus going with the other transgendered and talking about they must register for the draft? So check this out. I'm sharing my screen so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So Pete, so it says right here, Biden reminds transgendered females that they still must register for the draft. And it's going to be all these arguments we've already said, but the whole entire argument, what identifies a woman and what identifies as a man, these trivial conversations in which Biden before even said himself that transgendered women are women, right? So why would he make the conscious effort of saying that transgender women must register for the draft, but trans men don't have to? So check this out. Shout outs to Joseph Clark. The Biden administration is reminding draft age transgendered women that they need to register with selective service for potential military conscription, a policy at odds with the White House's push for transgender equality. The selective service system called attention to the matter in a recent Twitter post that reads, "Parents, if your son is an only son and the last male in your family to carry the family name, he is still required to register with SSS." The post included a link to the administration's Who Needs to Register section of the Selective Service website to clarify that U.S. citizens or immigrants who are born male and change their gender to female are still required to register. I find that interesting. Well, wouldn't that mean that the policies that's being put in place by Biden specifically is basically contradicting what the Democrats is basically trying to allude to the whole entire public about what they think about transgender women? I mean, let's just say it, because they say science is science, right? Or that gender is a social construct. But why would Joe Biden do that? Let's continue. Those who were born female and have changed their gender to male are not required to register for the draft, Selective Service explains. The policy contradicts President Biden's support for transgender identity, including transgender females competing in women's sports. It's a video I did on that. Make sure that you look at that video when you have the chance. He said in March that he remains committed to advancing transgender equality in a classroom, on the playing field, and in our military and our housing and healthcare systems. Everywhere, simply everywhere, Mr. Biden said in a statement commemorating the Transgender Day of Visibility in March. Republican Rep Lauren Boebert, Colorado Republican, noted the discrepancies between the president's military draft policy with his disregard for biologically defined gender in other settings. Trans women, also known as men, will be forced to sign up for the draft. Ms. Boebert said in a Twitter post, "Looks like Joe Biden has just officially confirmed what a woman is and what a woman is not." The Selective Service post, shared more than 2,700 times, sparked a backlash and much confusion. When they need you to go to war, the US government acknowledges that a person cannot change sex, one user tweeted. "It depends how you feel, whether you were born male or not," tweeted another user. "It is not clear whether the post was meant as tongue-in-cheek." I was sure this was satire for a couple minutes, and then I noticed a verified badge. Another user said, "Matt Walsh," and you should definitely check out Matt Walsh's videos. I mean, if you guys already understood Matt Walsh came out with that documentary saying what is a woman, but his main claim to like how he blew up, while a lot of people, more people paid attention to him, is when he was on that Dr. Phil episode going against those two. I think one of them was a trans man, the other one was non-binary or didn't. All I know is it was a male-looking person that had long hair and had a beard. And I was sitting back like, well, if I seen you in the streets, I would think you're a man. I wouldn't assume that you're a non-binary and all this other stuff. But a lot of this stuff goes into the illusions and the confusions and all this other stuff about what's going on in your world. And a couple of years down the line and further into the future, this will be the reality of your world. Your children will be having to deal with this if they aren't already. This is what they're already prepping up for. And it's already a video I made about it where they've already admitted that they want to groom your children for the next generation. Matt Walsh, a conservative commentator behind the 2022 documentary What is a Woman, wrote, "Parents, we may kill your son and end your bloodline and family name for the sake of defending some irrelevant pile of sand in some godforsaken corner of the globe that holds no worth whatsoever to you or your family. Do you assume we are all biologists? How are we to know what is a son? It is 2022. Read a book and cool it with your transphobic tweets," tweeted video blogger and political commentator Paul Ramsey. On other policy fronts, Mr. Biden has sided with LGBTQ activists who view transgender women as the same as biological women. He cleared the way for transgender people to serve openly in the military in a January 2021 executive order signed just days after taking office. He also signed an executive order in February 2021 that urged schools to allow students to participate in sports under assumed gender identities, regardless of gender assignment at birth. Critics argue that placing biological females in competitions with biological males who identify as females has disastrous effects in women's sports. And that goes to say that a lot of the left, a lot of people who's into that stuff, especially the not the conservative, about the people who believe in this stuff, right? That they don't understand the muscle mass differences between male and females. They acknowledge it, they understand, they have an understanding of it, but they avoid exactly what it is. That the Most High didn't make any mistakes with how he birthed you, whether male or female. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That goes into body fat, that goes into BMI, and you know what I'm saying? All these different things that a lot of people understand about the differences of male and female, but of course they're going to ignore it. Across the sporting world, the game is being rigged against women and in favor of biological men. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley wrote for the National Review in February. President Biden is the latest man to do the rigging, which is strange coming from someone billed as a defender of women. At the time, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Mr. Biden was unequivocal in his support for transgender rights. The president's belief is that trans rights are humans' rights. And the funny thing about that is that I already seen this coming, right? I already seen this coming. Like the thing about it is with the military, they don't try to get along with whatever it is that everybody else is talking about in the settings of America's fabric right now, with talking about transgenders and the new man, the new male, that is the transhumanism concept that's coming along in order to spearhead into the 2030 agenda. I mean, at the end of the day, like I already knew the military wasn't going to play no games with it. The military stays very conservative on these issues, and they know that they don't give a damn about what is it when it comes to the draft of war, especially since they're trying to hunt into World War III, which is an inevitable event that will happen soon. So my thing about it is that we could fight and grab, but I find it funny that Biden, who is supposed to be a main supporter and championing on the concepts of transgenderism, has agreed with the military about something the military has always stood for when it came to these issues. So otherwise than that, make sure you give your thoughts in the comment section. All right, peace.